Hey dolls and gents, today I wanted to share my top 5 favorite drugstore foundations. And before we get into my favorite foundations from the drugstore, I first want to talk about my frustration with the lack of deeper shades in drugstore foundations. We really are not well represented with a lot of different brands in the drugstore, and that needs to change. So with that being said, my first favorite drugstore foundation has to be the Black Opal Pore Perfecting True Color Foundation. As y'all know, Black Opal is made for women of color, so all of their shades, the 12 shades that they do have, are great for women of color. They have different undertones. Some have yellow undertones, some have red, some have olive undertones. I absolutely love the undertones in their foundation. So if you are at the drugstore and you can't find your shade and you're of a deeper complexion, I highly recommend the Black Opal True Color Pore Perfecting Foundation. This retails for about $11, and the finish of this foundation is satin, so it's in between a matte and a dewy finish. I would say that this foundation is good for pretty much every skin type, but if you have oily or combination skin, you definitely want to set your oily areas with powder so that this lasts you all day. My shade in this is Beautiful Bronze, but it switches around. Sometimes I'm all chocolate, sometimes I'm Beautiful Bronze, but in the winter time, this is pretty much my shade. And the coverage of this foundation is medium, but it's definitely buildable to a full coverage. I prefer to apply this foundation with a flat top brush. I don't really like the way that it applies with a beauty blender, but that's just my preference. My next favorite drugstore foundation is the L'Oreal Lumi True Match Foundation, and this has a dewy finish, so I know a lot of you are probably looking at the screen like, girl, what? Isn't your skin oily? But let me just say that this winter, my face has been pretty dry lately. I have switched up my skincare and I will be doing a video on that soon, but it has made my skin more dry than usual. So this foundation has been a lifesaver lately. I'm actually wearing it on my skin right now. And this foundation retails for about $13, and they have 12 shades, but only about 2 of the shades are going to be for women of color, possibly 3, but they actually mix C7 and C8 into one shade, which I think is really odd. I would have preferred them to separate that. That's why I have 2 foundations in my hand. I have to mix C6 with C7-8. In one of my previous Get Ready With Me videos, some of you asked me why I mixed 3 foundations. C7-8 is one foundation, and then C6 is this one. So the coverage of this one is about medium. This seems to be a water-based foundation, so I love applying it with a beauty blender. I'll apply it all over my skin first, and then I'll buff it into my skin with the beauty blender. So the finish of this foundation is a gorgeous, luminous, dewy finish. If you have dry skin, you're gonna love this foundation. If you have combination or oily skin, you have to, and I will repeat, you have to set this with a powder. If you do not set this with a powder, your foundation will probably melt off your face. I do not recommend this foundation in the summertime for people with oily skin. I only recommend it if you notice that your skin is a bit more dry and it needs more hydration in the winter months. This foundation does have SPF 20 in it, so that's also great for wearing throughout the day. I do notice that this foundation does not wear as long as my more matte foundations, but that's fine because normally when I'm wearing this foundation, I'm going for a more dewy look, so I don't really care if I start to oil up a little bit. I just go in and powder and I'm good. My next favorite foundation is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. And this one is a matte foundation. This is going to be great for those of you with normal, combination, and definitely oily skin. If you have dry skin, you want to stay away from this foundation because it will show your dry patches. This foundation retails for about $13, and they have 12 different shades. I would say 2 or 3 of those shades are for deeper complexions. So again, the shade selection for deeper complexions is not great at all. I currently use the shade Cocoa. The other shade is too light, but this one is too dark for me in the winter months. But summertime, this foundation is bomb, and that's when I wear this foundation because it is a long wearing foundation. I prefer to apply this foundation with a flat top brush. I don't like the way that it applies with a beauty blender, and that's probably because this foundation is not a water-based foundation, so it doesn't apply with the beauty blender all that great. And the finish of this foundation is demi-matte, so it's not completely matte, but it's pretty close to it. It has a little bit of shine to it. By the way, this foundation does not have SPF in it, so it does look great photographed, but if you're going to wear it during the day, you'll need to apply an SPF in your moisturizer. My next favorite foundation is the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Foundation, and again, the shade selection for Maybelline is even worse than L'Oreal, so if you are of a deeper complexion, this is the darkest that they go, which is not dark at all. So I'm using the shade 95 Coconut, and the great thing about this foundation is it does contain vitamin C, which is supposed to reduce your dark spots or hyperpigmentation that you have on your skin. In 3 weeks, I think, is what it claims. I have not used this foundation every day back to back to back, so I don't know if these claims are true, but I think it's great that they put great products in their foundation that actually help your skin as well. So the price of this foundation is $12. They have 12 shades, but again, only like one of them or two of them is for deeper complexions, which is ridiculous. The finish of this foundation is satin. It glides on so great. I love applying this with my beauty blender. It blends in like water. I love it. I would say the coverage of this foundation is low, but buildable to a medium coverage. And this foundation would be great for all skin types, but if you have oily skin, make sure you set it with a powder. Also, I noticed that this foundation does last on me pretty long, so this is a long-wearing foundation as well. My last favorite drugstore foundation is one that I recently started using. That's why it's number 5. I still need more time to test it out for you guys. So if you want a separate video on this, then just let me know in the comments down below. But this is the Maybelline Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. And what led me to purchase this foundation is the fact that it says hydrating and matte at the same time. That seemed like contradictory. So I was like, I gotta try this one out. So again, shade selection, not that great. This is a Maybelline foundation. I have the shade 95 Coconut again, but this coconut is darker than the other coconut. So if you cannot find your shade in the Better Skin foundation, you may be able to rock coconut in this foundation because it is a deeper shade. So again, they have 12 shades in this foundation, and the coverage of this foundation is medium, but it's definitely buildable to full coverage. I like to apply this foundation with a flat top brush. I do not like the way that it applies with a beauty blender. This foundation is best for normal to combination skin. If you have dry skin, you're probably not gonna like this foundation that much. You may like it if you're not extremely dry, but if you're very dry, stay away from this foundation. If you're oily, you may like this foundation, but you'll need to set it for sure. And of course, the finish of this foundation is a hydrating matte foundation. So it's not exactly matte, it's more of a demi-matte finish, and it has a gel formula which glides on pretty good. So those are my current top 5 favorite drugstore foundations. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I'm hoping that some of these brands will step up their game when it comes to color selection, especially for women of color, but this is what we have to work with for now. If you have any questions about any of the foundations that I mentioned in this video, definitely let me know in the comments down below. If you have a favorite drugstore foundation and I didn't mention it in this video, let me know what that foundation is below, because I love trying out different foundations, especially drugstore, because they're more affordable than high end. If you would like to see more of these kind of videos, then definitely give it a big thumbs up, and I will catch you all in my next one. Bye.